If you are ready to rewrite your story with intention, then ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your seats and please help me welcome Gareth Pegman.
Hello everybody, I'm really excited to be sharing this topic with you today, and I just want to share that what I'm going to be diving into is a way of living and can be a lifetime of study for people. So the idea of doing 20 minutes on this particular topic is going to be super fast paced. So fasten your seatbelts and let's get started. Gareth, the alts are going crazy. My friend Simon was both excited and anxious as he came up to me while I was lying in my hammock on a remote island in Panama. It was surprising to me that he had this information because we were completely out of mobile phone reception and I had no idea why he was so excited. That was in 2017. Almost 10 years earlier, in 2006, this book got released and was called The Secret. I was living in Johannesburg, South Africa, and the book was everywhere. And I was intrigued by the title and the cover, and I've always read personal growth books, and I decided to buy a copy of this book, take it home, and learn all about this exciting topic on the law of attraction. I read through the first few pages, and it spoke about the law of attraction being one of the 12 spiritual laws. And I was like, I don't think this is for me. At the time, I was a practicing atheist, and I would now call myself, at that time, living in scientific materialism. If I couldn't prove it with science, it didn't exist. And the fact that this was labeled as pseudoscience meant that I put the book down and never returned to it. I then went traveling around the world, and in 2015, I was in Thailand, and I met this woman. I had been calling in partnership into my life, and I was super excited when this goddess, yoga teacher, vegan being showed up in my life, and I was like, she's ticking all of the boxes of what I wanted to call in for partnership. Somewhere around the second week, she's like, have you read that book, The Secret? Obviously, I said, I love the book, my favorite, one of my best. And the relationship with this human didn't last as long as I would have liked it to last, and I had an important lesson on heartbreak and how to be completely honest about how I had felt in relationships. And that's not the point of this story today, but it really got me to this place of recognizing that I perhaps needed to revisit this book that had been part of my world almost 10 years earlier. As I looked through this book, actually I didn't look at the book. I decided to watch the video. There was a documentary on The Secret, and part of the documentary of The Secret was Jack Canfield talking about a book that he had written called Chicken Soup for the Soul. He spoke about how he had tried to get this book to multiple publishers and it hadn't gone out into the world. And then he then wrote himself a check for $1 million that he put on his fridge. And as the story goes, and he described it in the documentary, this $1 million came into his life, and this series of Chicken Soup for the Soul books became an international bestseller. I'm at this stage now where I'm revisiting this law of attraction content for the second time, and I'm like, dude, do something. So I decided to make a $1 million wallpaper that I made my Gmail wallpaper that said $1 million in my PayPal account by December of 2016. This was like the end of 2014, early 2015. At the time I had started my coaching business, I was charging around $250 an hour. My net worth was probably around $40,000 or $50,000. I had no idea how this was going to happen, but I was like, if Jack can do it, let's go. So I make this my Gmail wallpaper and then pretty quickly go ahead and forget about it. I'm just carrying on with my life. I'm traveling the world. I spent some time in Sri Lanka. I go to India. I went to the Philippines. I spent time in Nepal. And while I was traveling, I met somebody on the road who told me about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And I was like a little bit interested. I was like, that sounds cool. So I put a little bit of the money that I had saved from exiting my advertising agency in South Africa into crypto, and I had left it. I pretty much just carried on with my life as I was traveling the world. Gareth, the alts are going crazy. This is December of 2017, and it's the crypto bull run, and that's me lying in my hammock with my friend Simon. The alts are going crazy means that the alternative coins to Bitcoin had shot through the roof. And without me even realizing it, the investment that I had made into crypto had moved from about $40,000 to $1 million. Honestly, I didn't see this coming. I was like, did this $1 million show up in my world because I made a Gmail wallpaper? Or is there something else going on here? There was something that felt strange to me. I was like, what if I'd said $1 billion? Like, there was a part of me that was starting to just genuinely wake up. And they say that when the student is finally ready, the teacher appears. I was like, okay, there's something going on here about whatever had happened with that Gmail wallpaper and a few things of what I'd heard in that documentary in The Secret that had brought $1 million into my world. And then I was in. I went and studied all of the teachers around law of attraction, Abraham Hicks, Wayne Dyer. I went all the way back to the Hermetic texts from the very early days of understanding the 12 spiritual laws. And I still found it fucking dull. I found it so difficult to understand. I'm like, how could I find something that would have resonated with the Gareth of 10 years earlier that was ready and wanting this information in my life, but needed something that was a little bit more accessible to be able to understand how manifestation worked? The curse of this clicker. What I learned, and one of the things that held me back, was that energy is everything. In this world of scientific materialism that I had lived in, if anybody said to me, energy, I'm like, oh, that's when I go for a run and I either feel good or bad. That was where energy began and ended for me. But the idea that I had an energetic field around me and that was what was creating my reality, I had no idea that that was true. And so this idea that my energy creates the form around me, or my field creates the form around me, became the process that I used to create something called the manifestation game plan. And I made this to be as simple and as easy as possible to reverse engineer what had happened and the learning that I had around these law of attraction teachers so that I could understand how to make manifestation work for me, the version of Gareth 10 years ago, in a simple but easy way. So I'm going to share 6 steps with you as to how I understand the manifestation process working. These steps are nuanced. Like, there's kind of a lot in these things, and it's basically understanding how the fabric of reality creation works. So we only have a short amount of time, and I want to share that these 6 stages don't happen sequentially. The first one happens sequentially, and after that, they're sort of happening. They can overlap one another until the last phase, and I'll get to that in a bit. But as I'm going through this, don't think that they have to flow in this particular order. I want you to think about this like cosmic Amazon. Like, your ability to be able to order a new pair of shoes on Amazon is the same way that I want you to think about reality creation, or how you can use the law of attraction to create what you want to see in the world around you. The first stage of this manifestation game plan is desire. Everything starts with desire. It starts with a desire for something that you want or for something that you don't want. And this is always the first step of manifestation. This is always the first step of manifestation. It's this moment of like, $1 million, that would be something that I desire, and it starts with this particular step. Now, every single one of these stages has what I call a manifestation misstep. And the missteps around desire are, we sometimes want things for validation, or you feel guilt or shame about the thing that you want. Now, the reason that this is a misstep is that this perfect law, as I've become to understand it, and was spoken about in the self-confidence talk, and is a theme through many of the talks that we've had here, specifically in the personal development space, this law is about living in an aligned version of, I love myself the most, and I'm worthy of whatever it is that I want in the world, and I don't need validation for my $1 million. It also doesn't mean that I'm amazing because I have $1 million, or that I'm somehow not enough because I don't yet have $1 million in my life. So if you have a desire for something that you want in your life, but you feel some guilt or shame around it, this is going to block the energetic field that you have that's going to create the ability for that to show up in your reality. Make sense? An example of this, I want $1 million to show up in my life. When $1 million shows up in my life, I will make my dad proud. No, you're fine just the way you are. $1 million may or may not come into your life. It has nothing to do with you about whether that shows up. Another example here would be money is the root of all evil. I really want this money to show up, but there's an underlying energy or belief that perhaps you think that when the money does show up, that you're going to potentially be an evil person and you don't want that. So desire is always the first step of the manifestation game plan. The second, when you place your order with Cosmic Amazon, is being super clear. If you were to place an order for, go onto Amazon, I'd like some new shoes. Great, amazing. What size, what color, what brand? You need to be very specific when you're placing your order. And this has to do with making sure that what it is that you want, that you're clear about that. I work with so many people who are like, my life's terrible, okay? What is it that you're looking for in your life? No idea, no clear plan of where we want to go. You wouldn't plan a holiday without a plan. You definitely wouldn't build a house without being very clear on what it is that you wanted to build. But somehow when it comes to the things that we want in our life, we can get to this place of not being super clear about what it is that we want. The third phase is called clearing the decks. This is like making space for what it is that you want to call in your life. Nature abhors a vacuum, meaning when there's a space, nature will fill it. If you cut down a field and leave it for long enough, eventually things are going to start to grow. And if you wanted to call something into your life using the law of attraction, you need to make sure there's space for that. Imagine ordering a new sports car. You want it to arrive in your garage, but your garage is full of clutter, old bicycles, your old banger that was there before. You have to create space for what you want to call into your life. And the missteps that you have at this stage is you have limiting beliefs about something. So you don't believe that you're worthy of what it is that you want to call into your life. Or you have mixed energy. The best example I have for this is if you're wanting to call in like a soulmate partner and you want your life partner to show up in your life, but you've got a whole lot of lovers that are sort of like not too clear with them, connecting with them from time to time, but you're not super clear. Your energy is so mixed that it's going to be impossible for the right person to show up. In fact, they'll probably come into your world and your energy will be pushing them away. So making sure that you're doing what I call decluttering is recognizing these limiting beliefs and making sure that you're making space for whatever it is that you want to call into your life. The fourth, this is really where the work of manifestation comes. And there's really two components to paying for your orders. There's the inner game, and then there's the outer game, because manifestation is not a passive process. It's not like, oh, I want this $1 million, I'm just going to sit on the beach every single day. There was an active component of that process that involved me buying cryptocurrency that was part of the engagement. So I'm going to go through this and share the only acceptable currency that you can use to pay for your order with Cosmic Amazon is belief. Said differently, your reality is a function of your belief systems. What you believe about the world is what shows up in your world. And so a belief is nothing else than a thought that you've thought over and over again. And so practices like meditation, practices like journaling are your ability to be able to track your thoughts and to be able to track your stories and your words so that what it is that becomes your belief system is conscious rather than unconscious, and your world's just forming around you without your ability to be able to shape it. So belief I've broken down into 5 steps. The first is your ability to be able to feel gratitude. The frequency of gratitude is one of the highest emotions, and the reason that it's super strong in the manifestation process is when you feel gratitude, it has to do with the act of having already received something. And so when you feel like you already have received something and you feel grateful for it, the law of attraction doesn't send you what you want or what you need into your life. It sends you what you are, that field that you have around you that creates your form. Gratitude is saying thank you for things before they even arrive. Super strong first step. Second is patience. Your ability to be able to accept that this will show up on the timeline that is perfect for your field. When your field is right for what shows up in your world, this patience is part of developing that belief. And you're not rushing the process for it to happen. You trust that it's going to happen. If you order something on Amazon, you don't phone them every 5 minutes and say, where are the shoes? You get it, it's coming, and you trust that it's on its way. Those first two are inner game, like working on the inner field. Then there's a place of taking inspired action, of actually saying, all right, this is actually what I want. I'm calling in partnership in my life. I commit to going on a date. Like, that's an important part of this process, but you're taking inspired action as part of this process of actually manifesting what it is that you want to call into your life. fun seems like a bit out of left field. And this is really about taking this whole thing not too seriously. This $1 million that came into my life, when I reverse engineered it, no part of me was like, what's up? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I was living my best life traveling, and it just happened without me doing anything else except just living my life and really just being playful and having fun with it. So if you can incorporate play into your life, it raises your energy into a way that really allows you to be aligned with what it is that you're calling into your life. And this is one of the reasons that I love this so much. It's not like, this is what I want to manifest, now I've got to struggle and suffer with it. You can struggle and suffer with it, but it's easier to do it this way and have it come to you by using things like play as part of your process. And then the fifth part is to live as if. You don't attract what you want or what you need into your life, you attract what you are. So starting with gratitude, and if you're wanting to call more money into your life, being grateful about the money that is in your life right now is a really strong way for you to start living as if what it is that you want to come into your life. So there's a place, and I just want to get a check here on how this lands. So if I want more money in my life, does that feel like I'm living as if? No, because I want more money. Want puts you in a place of attracting more want. If you're living as if, I'm living my best life, I'm grateful for what I already have in my life, I already have a lot of money, and I have an order for $1 million, but I'm living as if, it doesn't mean that you spend outside of your budget and wreck your nervous system, but you do start to live and start to feel as though you already have this money in your life, and then you will start to attract more of it. So you start to live as if. This is the easiest part of it all, and also the most difficult. It's easy because there's nothing for you to do. You just have to release and trust that this, whatever it is that you're calling into your life, is going to show up. And easy because there's nothing to do, and difficult because the masculine in all of us wants to do something all the time, especially when you feel stressed. If your default strategy is to do, there's a tendency to go into that energy of like really moving forward. And so it moves from inspired action into hustle, and then you attract more hustle. And so the manifestation missteps here are you don't actually let go. You understand that you want partnership in your life, but you're like, where are they? It's time, like I've done all the things, I've done the decluttering, I'm clear about what I want, and then it's like, where are they? That releasing is trusting that this is coming on God's time, the higher creator's time, the perfect time, cosmic Amazon's time. It's going to be there exactly when it's right for you. And what also comes into this part is doubt. Is this working? Have I done enough stuff? Am I okay? They haven't shown up yet. So tracking these parts of yourself is an important part of this fifth stage, which is releasing. And the final stage is when it arrives in your world. And this is your chance to celebrate. And this is the magical, magical moments of this entire process, where what was once an idea in the ether now exists in front of you as your soulmate, your business, $1 million in your crypto account. It's that moment that you recognize that you have been a conscious creator in what you wanted to create in your world. And this is an opportunity to celebrate. It's an opportunity for you to recognize the role that you've played and the fact that you are consciously creating your reality in every single moment. This is also a really good time to log your wins. So many of us, me included, we're so busy going to the next thing and so excited about what's coming next, or even being disappointed that it's not here yet. If you just look back, what was on your to-do list or things you wanted to call into your life a year ago, you'll be shocked at how many things exist in your life right now that you're just like, they're just in the rearview mirror, and you're just so quickly on to the next thing. And you live in this place of continually hustling that you don't take a time to celebrate what's genuine in your world right now. When you log these wins, I call them order board. I have an order board for all these orders that I'm placing with Cosmic Amazon, and I have an order delivered challenge. It's a Trello board with a list called order delivered. And whenever I'm feeling like that release stage and I feel like I need to do something, or I'm starting to get a bit of doubt, or I'm feeling contraction because things are not coming quickly enough, I go back to the order delivers and be like, oh yeah, I remember this does work. I know that I'm able to do this. So when you track these and start to celebrate them, it becomes a reference point for you to go back when you're feeling low vibe to help pick yourself up again by checking at all of the order delivers that you already have in your life. So going through and celebrating your wins appreciating what you have, feeling gratitude for your ability to be able to create and manifest consciously, and logging your wins is a powerful part of this sixth phase. So I think that there are three types of cosmic creators. The first was me in 2004. I picked up the book, not for me, put it down. I now know that anything that I feel a lot of resistance to probably has some magic there for me. I've learned that as a lesson in my life. If there's something that I feel a lot of repulsion to, I feel like there's something for me to go and look more deeply at that. So in this moment, my world is happening to me. I'm not creating anything in my life. I feel like I'm a passenger in my life rather than a pilot in my own life. So this is the first level of creator. The second is the conscious creator. Okay, there's 6 phases. I know what to do. I know how to do this. I live aligned. I feel what's happening. Things come in and they show up. I think this is sort of the second step. The third is the surrendered creator, which is, you know how this works. You know how to live in alignment with this. You focus just on feeling good. And while you have orders on your order board, you actually place orders for things like, I don't know what I want to happen on my trip down into Cape Town, but I want it to be amazing. I want people to show up that are going to inspire me. I want to be surprised, because when you live from this place, you leave yourself open to things that you couldn't think of on your own. And so this surrendered creator trusts in the magic and the flow of life to help bring whatever it is that you're calling into your life in, but not from your mind, but from the magic of what is this human experience that we're all living in together. So Gandhi says that your thoughts become your words become your stories become beliefs, your beliefs become your actions become habits, and your habits become your values, and your values your destiny. And this really points to this for me. There's these various levels of how we're creating, and it all starts up here in our head, and we have the ability to be able to control the energy that we move through the world with, and actually physically create the field around us that creates the form. So I'm using this framework to bring a program to the world around relationships specifically. I'm really passionate about serving men and women to be in relationship. And I'm going to be going through in a deeper level the manifestation game plan over 6 weeks for anybody that's interested in calling in partnership into their life. And you can also use this code to stay connected to me and on my email list. And that's a wrap. Thank you, everybody. Thanks.
Do you have any questions?
Thank you so much. I'm a huge fan. Never thought of writing of this. What, besides meditation, what are some daily practices that you do purposely in order to make these manifestations other than the inspired action, like the moments of reflection or whatever it might be?
Beautiful. I place orders every single day for how I want my day to go. And it's like being intentional in the morning of scripting. Another way to think about this is the words that we use. We spell words. Spells is what you use in magic. And so the words that we use also have a very important role to play in how we create our reality. So if you choose to journal about an event that you want to come into your reality and writing those words down in the present tense, including things like the emotions of how will I feel when I stand on this stage today? I've written this out this morning before I happened to come into this auditorium today. So that's placing orders for the day. So I will have an amazing conversation with my boss. I will be surprised by the people that I meet at Nomad Week. That's one practice. Meditation is a huge one for me because that's the part that tracks the stories that become the reality as well. So those are 2, journaling, placing orders, actively writing down in the journal, and then meditation to be able to track when I'm wandering away from what I'm actually wanting to cultivate. Because when I tell a different story to the one that I want, my field starts to shift and then the form starts to shift.
Okay, we have a question in comment for that. Then we've got tags and then like 5 minutes to get brief, please.
Cool.
Do you have a moment in your career or a specific manifestation you've made before that really connected you to this mission you have?
To connected me to this mission of sharing this.
Yes, to what you do, to why you're reason for me to so rapidly alignment, your big why.
Yeah.
So the moment you have those specific moments.
Yeah, this will be an entire talk on its own. Short story, I think that our wounds become our wisdom, meaning the thing that we're born with that seems like the most challenging thing for us in our life becomes our gift to bring. You spoke about superpowers. Mine is linked to sex addiction and relationship, which is why I'm so important. I found this out in a men's circle. The first time I stepped into a men's circle, and in that moment I knew, oh wow, when I shared what I'd been hiding from men in my life for my entire life, I felt like I took a rock out of my backpack and put it down on the ground. And in that moment, I was like, okay, this is my medicine to share with the world. And so, yeah, men's work is part of my mission. And that was one of many different, yeah.
Thank you very much. Academic feeling. And then the last one.
Just a quick question. Have you found your soulmate yet? And if yes, how do you know she's the one?
Thank you. That's a great question. First of all, I think, I'm just going to give you the whole course now. My soulmate is me. There's only one person that goes through this entire life journey with me from beginning to end, and that's me. And so that's my most important relationship. I have partnership in my life at the moment. We've been together for 6 years. And how do I know that she's the one? Because it feels right. And there's moments when I'm like, there's a young voice inside of me that wants to leave when it feels difficult. And I want to cut and run because it's not perfect. But I've done that enough times in my life and realized that there's no perfect person. There's two imperfect people that come together and go on this adventure. And I see relationship as a vehicle for personal growth. Meaning, I traveled the world as a nomad, sitting in meditation, learning how amazing I was. I did all the self-work. And then I got into a relationship and I was like, oh, wow, there's a whole lot of stuff coming up that I didn't have access to without a relationship. So the answer is yes. And it's a beautiful unfolding journey for us. Thank you for the question.
Last question in France. Please raise your hands.
Hi, so I really enjoy what you were presenting, and I think that that's also what I want to learn now while I've been watching my podcast and stuff like that. And the question that I have is going back to the $1 million goal that you had at your laptop. What if you have more than one goal that kind of relates to the same vision that you want to life? Do you think that it's a strategy to have 3 goals for example? And do you think that you should focus on like one at a time?
So I think that I have goals for, if I understand your question correctly, I have goals for different areas of my life. So health and fitness, travel. I have a place called spaces, like places where I want to live, Airbnbs, that type of vibe. Partnership goals, money goals. So no, I think you can have as many as you want. I wouldn't be, that mixed energy is important. I wouldn't have a goal for $1 million and then for 500,000. I'd be like super clear on one of them. But no, I think you should have goals for each of them. Placing orders with Amazon. I'm looking for my soulmate. Cool. Be clear and intentional about what that is. And then at the same time, you've got a business goal. And at the same time, you've got a health and body goal. You've got a place where you want to live. So no, definitely have more than one. And yeah, I wish I could carry on talking more about this because there's so much in it. But yeah, it's being conscious about what each of those are and noticing how you're feeling in every single moment about that. That shapes your vibrational set point, like how you feel now, how your field is now about relationship or about money. And that determines how that particular area of your life shows up.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you so much.